Hello, I'm Robbie Ellis here for the Grant Park Music Festival, and this is a bit of a preview, a pre-concert talk, as it were, for Classic Broadway. There are two performances happening in the festival, Friday the 13th, Saturday the 14th of August, both 6:30 p.m. at the Pritzker Pavilion in Millennium Park in downtown Chicago. Reserved seats are available at gpmf.org. There's a trio of musical theater singers. There are 68 Grant Park Orchestra musicians, that big symphonic sound. And there's also a director, and I have him on the end of a Zoom right now. The director of Classic Broadway, Doug LaBrecque. Hello.
Hey, Robbie, thanks for having me. This is great.
Where in the world are you right now?
I am down outside of Atlanta, about 80 miles east of Atlanta, between Atlanta and Augusta. So I'm just enjoying the extraordinarily hot weather here and anticipating a trip up to Grant Park and really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'd much rather be in Chicago in August than in Georgia. I'll say that much.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah. Winter's a different story. So tell me about your career. You started as a musical theater performer, but lately you're more of a producer director type, I guess.
Yeah, so I was very fortunate enough to be, have a lot of Broadway experience and do some shows. And about dating myself here, it's about 20 years ago, I started singing with symphony orchestras. And I'm not sure, someone can fact check me, but I think I've done, more than 125 different symphonies. And I think about 10 years ago, I started working more on the production end and helping producing and directing and auditioning young talent. And that's morphed into a nice second career for me. So I'm both producer and director, and I'm still singing. And the program we have for Grant Park wanders right into that lane. It's a trio of singers that I've worked with before, and I'm really excited to bring them there.
So when Grant Park comes to you and says, we want to put together a concert, where do you start? What did they ask of you for Classic Broadway?
Well, they wanted something in the Broadway tradition. So I said, well, there's a number of shows that I do. These are some of our options. And we ended up choosing Classic Broadway. Normally we would do a full performance with the incredible chorus there, but we're all just wandering into post-COVID, 21st century post-COVID. So we weren't certain we could have the chorus. So we left the chorus out, which changed the program a little bit. So the initial program I was going to do was slightly different. And we settled in on this with three, extraordinary singers and the full orchestra, and something we could pull off and the audience would love.
Yes. As we're recording this interview, it's right as the From Ireland with Love concert is happening. So as soon as we're done with this interview, I'm going to cycle over to Millennium Park and catch I'll miss the first few items, but yes, the Grant Park chorus. It's a shame you can't use them this year, but.
Well, I tell you, now, I don't say that to impress you. I say that to impress upon you. I have a perspective about outdoor venues and choruses. I've sung with, numerous great choruses throughout the world, and numerous incredible symphonies and wonderful outdoor venues. And what you guys have in Chicago, what we have, I'm actually born about 120 miles away in Kalamazoo, Michigan. What we have in Chicago is just something beyond the beyond. And the level of the chorus there, it's just staggering. It brings me goosebumps just to think about the opportunities I've had as a singer to stand in front of them to perform music for, upwards of 10,000 people. So yes, we will miss them this year, but they're prominently featured throughout the season, as I understand. Is that right?
Yeah, well, just a bit behind the scenes, that today is Wednesday, August 4th, that I'm recording this, and they're doing a concert tonight. So yes, well, by the time this video comes out, it'll be done and gone. But yes, I'm very much looking forward to seeing them. Let's talk about the three singers that you've chosen for this concert. What can you tell the world about Madison Claire Parks?
Madison Claire Parks is a young singer who actually appeared at Grant Park Music Festival 2 years ago, the last time we were able to perform. 2019. Do I have my math right? 2019. We did a concert called "The Envelope, Please," which was award-winning songs from the Grammys, the Tonys, and the Oscars. And she came on board just to sing a couple songs. I thought, with the festival there, I thought, let's just introduce Madison, and people loved her. And so I'm bringing her back with this performance, and she has quite a Hollywood legacy. Her grandmother was the legendary MGM film star Betty Garrett, and who people know as the grandmother on Laverne and Shirley, which is an American TV program. But and her grandfather was another MGM film star, Larry Parks, who played the role of Al Jolson in the Al Jolson story. So her parents are, her dad is the son of Larry Parks, and Betty was very important to her. And I mean, her stories are awesome. That was the stories of her grandmother and who she connected with. And so she's sort of like a link to the past. And Madison's mother was Karen Culliver, who is Karen Culliver, who is a great Broadway star who starred in Phantom of the Opera. So Madison was basically raised backstage at Phantom of the Opera and has gone on to do incredible roles. Some of the iconic roles in the golden age of musical theater. And most importantly, she played the role of Louisa in the Fantastics in New York for like 450 performances. So she's a young singer that I'm really behind. I really love her talent, and she's a lyric soprano, sort of occupies that Julie Andrews, Barbara Cook traditional lyric soprano ingenue lane. So she'll be there singing. She did Nellie Forbush in South Pacific, and she's going to be doing a song from that. She's doing a piece from Phantom of the Opera, and she'll be featured throughout with the other two singers.
And she's also singing "Till There Was You," which I got married 2 months ago, and that song was sung at my wedding. So
No way.
Yes, yeah. I arranged the music for it. So for tenor, violin, and guitar, but the Grant Park Orchestra, I couldn't afford them for my wedding, so we get a 68-piece orchestra instead.
That's great. It's a very special song from the Music Man, which was written by Meredith Willson. And people don't realize that Music Man was written in 1950, premiered in 1957, the same year as West Side Story, and it ended up sweeping the Tonys and got a little bit more attention than West Side Story. And West Side Story, as you know, became an iconic, celebrated musical. And Music Man, I wouldn't say it got lost in the shuffle by any stretch, but it's more of a traditional musical. But it's got these legendary melodies that you wouldn't think of a show that's dedicated to a traveling salesman with lots of comedy, that he was able to write beautiful melodious song like "Till There Was You." It's incredible. Good choice in putting it in your wedding.
And it even works with the Beatles as well.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Also on the program is someone who could be described as a Barry hunk, Bronson Norris Murphy, probably most famous in his career for playing the Phantom in The Phantom, the sequel. So the first US production of Love Never Dies by Andrew Lloyd Webber. There's something from Love Never Dies on this program, right?
Right. So the big song in Love Never Dies, in Broadway, what they call the 11 o'clock number, Broadway used to begin at 8:40 in the golden age. And so the 11 o'clock number was when you'd have, Ethel Merman sing her big song, or it'd be the penultimate moment, the high point. So Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote the 11 o'clock number at 8:02 for Love Never Dies. Show started at 8, and Bronson started the show with the big showstopper music, the song called "Till I Hear You Sing." So we've got he's going to present that, but he was in the Phantom of the Opera on Broadway for years and played the role of Tony in West Side Story. And he's just a really gifted singer. And when Lloyd Webber was trying to find someone to premiere Love Never Dies in America, he chose Bronson. And I think people will really, really admire his talent. He's going to sing Maria from West Side Story. and he's going to sing Till I Hear You Sing from Love Never Dies. And it's sort of it's a thrilling sound. He's able to merge operatic training with the mastery of acting with music theater. So he's a great talent.
Yeah, he's done a lot of Andrew Lloyd Webber shows, it seems.
Yep.
Finally, Mamie Paris, originally trained as a coloratura soprano, but moved away from the opera world into musical theater.
Mm-hmm.
I might have seen her in School of Rock on Broadway. I don't know if it was her doing that role at the time. That role in School of Rock has a little quote from Mozart's Queen of the Night aria.
Right. So
I'm not going to attempt right now.
The chances that you saw her are probably pretty good, because she did it a long time, but she switched parts. She played both of the parts, but her voice can do both those things, which is quite rare. She can, belt a song like Defying Gravity from Wicked, or I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables, but then she can turn around and sing something, a snippet. She could sing all of Queen of the Night, believe it or not, which is amazing. Those two voice types are opposites. You've got sort of a coloratura with all that flexibility, and then you've got what we just call a classic Broadway belter. So she is really quite something, I would say. She's one of the great Broadway voices that you'll ever hear. She was hand-selected by Andrew Lloyd Webber to play the role of Grisabella in the recent revival of Cats, which is the famous song Memory. And so, and then she was in School of Rock doing two different roles. I forget the names of the roles, but you can fact check me on that. And then she played Elphaba in Wicked. So I've been trying to use her more and more in concerts. I still occasionally sing. So I've directed and co-produced this production, but I just actually performed with her with the Fort Worth Symphony just about 6 weeks ago. And people just loved her.
And she's got two absolute bangers of the musical theater repertoires, Memory and Defying Gravity, both roles she's sung. And let's not forget the Grant Park Orchestra. There are some instrumental features for them. What's the difference like between, working with a Broadway pit band, which might be 5, 10, 20 players, versus a full 60 orchestra?
I'd say classic Broadway, the golden age of Broadway, you'd have a pit between 24 to 32 max, probably around 26, 28. So I would say the experience of hearing theater music with a full orchestra, that's what's unique, that you get to hear, absent the sets and the makeup and the costumes and the story, you celebrate the beauty of the music. And incredible songwriters like Rodgers and Hammerstein and Leonard Bernstein and Julie Stein and Funny Girl and Stephen Schwartz from Wicked, you really get to hear the music. And I mean, your listeners will know, and people who are watching this will know, that the quality of musician that you're able to secure in the orchestra there is unbelievable at the highest level. So, and what I admire about Grant Park is that they do such an incredible their programming is so diverse. One night you'll hear something that's sort of out of the box classical wise, and then you'll hear a jazz concert, and then you hear a Broadway concert, and they can sort of excel at many different genres, which is it's not easy to do. It's not easy to play Stravinsky on Tuesday and a Broadway concert on Friday, but they have great versatility and they're admired.
Yeah. And Lawrence Lowe will be the conductor for this. He's got quite a reputation in the pops concert field with orchestras. So I know that Broadway's not yet back. First shows open mid-September in New York. Last week, it was announced that audiences will require proof of vaccination for that. Broadway in Chicago comes back in November. Would you say that you're back? What does back mean?
Well, you're catching us on a bad day down here, because we were back. We'd had what I call a 15-month intermission for COVID and all the symphonic concerts. I had booked a lot of concerts as a director and a few concerts as a singer. And then I'm currently the artistic director of a performing arts organization down outside of Atlanta. So we took a pause and we sat patiently, and we're roaring to open the season on, in my case, September 10th. And so we've hit a little blip. So we're hoping that, you know, this will pass. And as you know, Broadway just announced you have to have proof of vaccination, the MAT proof of vaccination, and you have to be masked. So we're hoping that things will progress, but you know, who knows? I feel lucky that many of these concerts are outside, and people will take the necessary precautions.
Well, take advantage of it while you can, Chicago. Doug LaBrecque, it has been a pleasure. Doug is the director of Classic Broadway, a concert of musical theater favorites as part of the Grant Park Music Festival with the Grant Park Orchestra. 3 soloists, 2 performances, Friday, August 13th, Saturday, August 14th, both at 6:30 p.m. in the Pritzker Pavilion in Millennium Park. Doug, you're coming up for that?
Sarah, what?
You're coming up to Chicago for that?
I am. Yeah, I have to be there and listen to the sound levels and look at the lighting cues and work with the cast, with Larry, Lawrence Lowe, I should say. Larry, he's a very skilled conductor. I know you said he's admired in the pops world of conducting, but he also has an incredible repertoire as a classical conductor and an opera. And he's an incredible collaborator. And that's why Grant Park would invite him back, because he actually conducted our concert 2 years ago. And so when we were thinking about, you know, who to ask back, Larry was the go-to guy. So yes, I will be there, and let's pray for good weather.
Yes, indeed. Larry Lowe, Bronson Norris Murphy, Mamie Paris, Madison Claire Parks, the Grant Park Orchestra, of course. Friday the 13th, Saturday the 14th. Tickets available at gpmf.org. I'm Robbie Ellis, and on behalf of the Grant Park Music Festival, I'll see you in the outdoors. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Robbie.